Welcome to South Carolina, a land of smiling faces and beautiful places. It sounds like paradise, but is it? Despite innocent appearances, South Carolina animals face being abandoned, unintentionally poisoned or injured, neglected, and a host of other things. Thankfully, there are several organizations in South Carolina who are dedicated to making sure that these animals don't fall through the cracks. Here are just a few of their stories. Founded in 1968, Rabbit Sanctuary is swiftly approaching its 50th anniversary. Located in Simpsonville, South Carolina, this sanctuary sits on 30 wooded acres of land. The sanctuary's founder, Caroline Gilbert, seeks to give misplaced domestic rabbits a permanent home.
It started out just sort of as a hobby, but then it grew and grew and grew because I kept hearing about, rabbits all over the place that weren't being cared for and rabbits running loose in fields, and it grew. At one point I had like 200 rabbits, and that was too many. That was a lot of work.
So why dedicate your life to saving rabbits?
My son, who was about 7 or 8 years old, came home from school one day, and he said, one of the kids at school has a rabbit and she had babies. Can I have one? And I said no. And he came home that afternoon from school with a suspicious shoebox poked full of holes, and I said, what's in that box? And he said, nothing. And it was a rabbit, and that started the whole thing.
As proof of their dedication to giving rescued rabbits the best lives possible, the sanctuary has chosen to put some protective measures into place. The first of these two measures is to ensure that the rabbits of the sanctuary remain in a good home for the rest of their lives. In order to fulfill this promise, Rabbit Sanctuary does not physically adopt out its rabbits. Instead, supporters of the sanctuary can virtually adopt the rabbits online. The second protective measure taken by the sanctuary is their accreditation with the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. This federation seeks to create a world in which sanctuaries provide lifetime, humane care to all animals in need.
I said to them, you send me your form and I will fill it out and get it right back to you. And that was very naive of me because it took a long time, weeks, maybe even a couple months, to get everything up to standard for them. We had to purchase fire extinguishers, and we had to alter some of our territories, make them bigger, and it was, they're strict, and I think it's great.
It's easy to guess with over 60 rabbits on site that Mrs. Gilbert has a busy schedule. Each day, in addition to visiting Rabbitats 1 and 2, she makes visits to the Bunny Healthcare Building, where sick and recuperating rabbits are held, along with those who are aging. With all of this activity going on, it's a sure relief when the volunteers arrive on the third Sunday of each month.
I've been a volunteer here for about 8 years, and usually when we come out for volunteer, we volunteer every 3 weeks, so it's every third Sunday. We come out and we go through each of the pens and kind of do a little bit of construction work to make sure that we fill in any holes that the bunnies have kind of dug out, or if they have any tunnels, because sometimes the tunnels can cave in. And then we make sure to collect all their poop, and then we change out their hay and then put more hay in there for them.
She said there's about 1,000 rabbits buried out here in the 30-some years that she's been doing this, 30, 40 years.
Sometimes as part of their volunteer work, volunteers are asked to dig graves for sanctuary rabbits who have passed away. If the rabbits were lucky, they lived to be 10 years or older. After the volunteers have completed their jobs of weeding through the flower bed, cleaning out the rabbitats, and burying the deceased rabbits, it's time for them to come together for a meal and to celebrate another day of hard work done well. The close of the day is a reminder of what it's all about. Community, coming together to support a cause that's larger than oneself, and then the celebration of reaching the goal.
I started rehabilitating wildlife about 33 years ago, I think it is. I've always had a love for wildlife and animals, and it took me a while before I figured out what I wanted to use that for in life, and this is where I ended up.
Mercedes, called Mac by those who know her, spends her time rescuing all sorts of South Carolina wildlife and preparing releasable animals to be set free into the wild.
Right. Well, I think what we have learned today is that I've got a couple of birds getting ready, but they're not quite ready yet.
But what are some of the circumstances that lead animals to pause?
The reason that the animals come in for care is a variety of things. Number one is humans. Almost all of the animals that come in are here because of some human-related thing. Orso here was hit by a car. We put a road in the middle of his backyard, essentially, and then we run fast things through there. In his world, he doesn't really understand cars. And so when a car is coming, he thinks he can outfly it. He doesn't realize there's a problem. Dogs, which are again related to humans, dogs that are allowed to run loose, frequently bring in a lot of animals. Cats are huge. And those are literally the top three reasons. Humans cut down trees for various reasons. There's just a lot of things that we affect.
Of course, caring for wildlife requires permits.
We hold more state and federal permits than any other facility in the state. The reason for that is not because we need all of the animals to come here, but we want to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. And if there is a species out there that requires a special permit or special caging or special care, we want to be able to help with that so that nothing has a problem without someone to take care of it.
At a facility like PAWS, one might wonder, what are the animals fed, specifically the raptors like Orso the owl?
If we had to purchase food for the raptors, it would cost us between $4,000 to $6,000 a month to feed all of the rehabilitating raptors that come through PAWS. So, the freezers standing behind me are filled with raptor food that we get from some of the chick farms in the area. And we have fans on our Facebook page who have donated freezers to us, and we set a freezer on the site, and they fill them up with the dead chicks that happen as part of chick farming, and then they get transported here and put in our freezers. And this is probably, this is at least a month's worth here and a month's worth there, so this could be $8,000 to $10,000 worth of food if I had to purchase it. And since we don't get that much in donations, we would not be able to rehabilitate raptors without the donations that come in from the chick farms. So I feel like it's the ultimate in recycling. To them, it's trash. To us, we're able to save lives with it.
What's the bottom line when it comes to it all?
I like to feel that I'm undoing a wrong, I'm righting a wrong. We have this impact on nature, and I'm trying to help fix the pieces that I can.
Educating the public and future generations has an important role in making sure that wildlife stays safe. In accordance with this, Mac also hosts presentations in order to show people the impact that they have on these creatures and on their environment.
The vocalizations that you hear are the public ones, but these animals make a lot of different sounds for different reasons. Now I've got a little screech owl I did not bring today, and he does the little talking to mama.
Big Oaks Rescue Farm in Greenwood, South Carolina is home to a plethora of farm animals, ranging from those who have been neglected to those who have been owner surrendered.
Weight on him, he was very skinny. And that's Tycho. They have really grown.
Joe Mann started the rescue farm in 2007, and he passed away in 2016, and then I took over in 2016 and started running it, and that's where we are today. He knew that the animals needed a place to go, the farm animals, horses, donkeys, goats, sheep, pigs. He knew that there needed a place to rescue them, that you can't take them to animal shelters. So he knew there was a need for a farm so they could come and this be their home.
I'm the official breeder too, so I greet everybody.
There's a sad and unique story behind Joe Mann's desire to save animals.
When he was a little boy, his grandfather, Joe had a dog, and his grandfather, the dog had puppies, 5 puppies, and his grandfather took the puppies and put them in a sack and threw them in the river. And Joe didn't understand. He was just a little boy, and he didn't understand why his grandfather would do something like that. He knew his grandfather told him that they couldn't feed them. Well, you know, Joe being a little boy, he thought, well, they could have my food. Not knowing, his grandfather threw him in the river, and he said that the little dog cried and cried, and Joe said he cried. And knowing that, you know, those puppies drowned it. And he swore that day as a little boy to take care of animals the rest of his life. And that's what Joe did. He took care of them till he died.
Although tragic, this event has led to the rescue and rehabilitation of many animals, a percentage of them finding a home for life at Big Oaks Rescue Farm. Around here, there's excitement everywhere as new faces arrive and animals of all species come together to enjoy life. A lot of animals must need a lot of food. Feed is delivered every 2 weeks and costs a rescue between $3,000 to $5,000 every time it arrives. Luckily, Big Oaks Rescue Farm is both a rescue and a sanctuary, meaning that some of these animals will be adopted out to other locations.
Most of the time it's a sanctuary for the older horses. This is their forever home. The younger horses do get adopted out. They find forever homes. But most of the time it's a sanctuary for animals that don't have anywhere else to go.
The future looks bright for animals at Big Oaks Rescue Farm. In the year 2017 alone, 206 horses were adopted out.
Started out as 5 days a week, and now it's 7 days a week I'm here. And I love it. This is me.
In the end, whether your specialty is saving domestic rabbits, wildlife, or farm animals, it can be agreed upon that the general welfare of South Carolina's animals rests in the hands of humans. In order to improve the general welfare of these animals, South Carolinians must strive to live conscientiously and to be aware of the impact that their choices may have on the lives of these creatures.